All right, moving on. Question number 2 has come in from Michael. Michael says, hi there, Michael. Good to see you on a webinar. Thank you for your question. So Michael says, I've been knocked back on a recent mortgage application, but cannot work out why. Are there any tips you can give me to help make my position more appealing to lenders? And any tips to rebuild my credit just in case it slips somehow? Okay, Michael, well, thank you for that question. Great question, because this is something that I don't see many mortgage brokers talking about or having knowledge of necessarily with working with their clients to put them in the best position possible for raising finance for a purchase. And it's something we used to teach a lot when I was doing the sort of seminar circuits and speaking for property investor organizations on helping people to rebuild their credit rating because for whatever reason it had fallen apart, or something negative had happened and all the rest of it. So the quickest ways I can show you how to do this, Michael, or the best advice I can give you, first step would be to write to the credit reference agencies. There's 3 of them: Experian, Equifax, and it used to be called Call Credit. It's now called TransUnion. So you want to write to them. If you go on their website, you can download a form to order your statutory credit report. Okay. Now, this is different because a lot of these credit reference agencies will try and sell you into a monthly sort of digital access to your credit report, and you can see what changes month on month on month. Initially, I'm not going to encourage you to sign up for that. I'm going to ask you to get your statutory credit report and get it printed in hard copy and sent to your door. Okay. Now, as I say, on each of those individual websites, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, you can download a copy of their form for the statutory credit report, and then you'll fill in the form. Send it with I send it with a cover letter. It's up to you how you want to do it, but put a cover letter in there and list the last 6 years of addresses that you've lived in, along with the dates that you've lived there for. Okay. And send that off. And then within 7 days, there or thereabouts, you should get a copy of your statutory credit report in from each of those different agencies. Okay. Now, depending upon how active you've been financially, that report might be quite thin or it might be quite thick. And what you need to do is to go through that report with a fine tooth comb. And what you're looking for is any errors or omissions within each one of the credit reports. Now, it might be things as simple as, a misspelling of your name. It might be an error in your address. For example, that you might say, I live at number 12 New Road, and somebody's put down number 2 New Road or something like that. So what you've got to remember is that every time you make an application for a credit card or a mortgage or any kind of financial instrument, for want of a better word, you'll have teams of data inputters that will input data into their systems, and then those systems share that data with the credit reference agencies. And with the greatest respect to everybody in the world, they're probably not that hot on accuracy. Okay, so sometimes there can be misspellings, errors in information that's actually put into the data that they enter into their system. That gets shared with the credit reference agency, and what they're looking for is consistency. So if there's things that are happening where there's inconsistencies showing up in the data and information that's being shared, that will have a negative impact on your credit score. Okay, so the whole idea is go through it and see if there's anything on your credit report that needs correcting, first and foremost, or, as is very common, things are appearing on your credit file that are nothing to do with you. So let's say, for example, you moved into a house where the previous owner had bad credit. There could be a knock-on effect where somehow they've been linked to your credit file, and then their data is now showing on your credit file. So, for example, if 2 people get married, okay, one's got great credit, the other one's got really bad credit. The moment they get married, their credit files tend to get intertwined, okay? And the bad credit can pull down the great credit, but the great credit can pull up the bad credit, okay? So it can be this kind of balancing act, but it can be a problem if somebody's got great credit and they're used to getting everything rubber stamped very, very quickly. It can be a problem then in getting certain finance products in place. So you want to check that there's nothing on your credit file that shouldn't be on there, that hasn't appeared from a previous address or a previous partner, or there's been some kind of error in the data entry where something has appeared on your credit file that actually shouldn't be there. And if you are noticing that there are errors and omissions, or there's stuff that's on there that shouldn't be on there, then you want to write to each different agency, highlight what's gone wrong, and then make them aware of these are the things that need to be changed and altered and brought up to date. Now, that will take a couple of weeks to filter through. It may be that they come back to you and say, can you explain more about this situation? You are allowed to put, I think it's called a notice of correction. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's called a notice of correction. So if there's something that happened, let's say uh, 3 years ago, you missed a payment on something, you can put, actually, this payment was made, not sure why it's showing as missed. And if there are things like that, because that's where your credit file tends to get reduced quite substantially, is where there are missed payments, or there are payments that haven't been met correctly, or they're just not recorded. You've made them on time, but for whatever reason they're not recorded properly. Then those are the sorts of things that you need to correct. And if you can provide evidence that says, actually, here's my bank statement that shows on this date this payment was made, not sure why it's not showing, but you need to make sure that it is, then get those things updated on your credit file, because it's important to build that established credit history. Okay. And that should help you to tidy up over a period of, probably, let's be realistic, it's going to be at least 12 weeks, right? To help you to tidy up your credit file, go back and forth, do that process, and then make sure that everything is as it should be across those three credit files. Now, the second thing you might want to consider doing, Michael, and you haven't mentioned this in your question, but I'm going to mention it because I think it might be useful for anybody watching who might be in a similar position to you, is that you might be in a position where you've been knocked back because banks are getting nervous about the level of personal debt that people are carrying right now. Okay. And what you want to do is to put a plan in place to reduce your the amount of borrowing. So on a credit file, for example, let's say you've got 5 credit cards. And for the sake of making maths really, really simple, each of those 5 credit cards has a limit of £1,000. And if you're up to £900 on each of those limits across those 5 cards, they might look at your credit file and go, actually, this guy's pretty close to his limits across these 5 cards. Is he being sensible with the borrowing that he's got? If that was 50%, or there was 1 or 2 cards that had nothing on them whatsoever, then that might look more favorable to lenders as far as your sort of, shall we say, debt to equity ratio. It's not quite like that, but your debt to limit ratio, should I say, is more favorable. Okay, so you want to look at reducing down the amount of borrowings that you are carrying, because that might be one of the reasons why you got knocked back. And one of the things, I have to be very careful when I tell you about this, Michael, because obviously I'm not financially qualified. I'm not giving you any kind of FCA regulated financial advice or anything of that nature. Okay. But what I have noticed people do in these sort of situations, and I've done it myself, is that if you've got, let's say you've got 3 or 4 credit cards, if you look at the percentage rate that people pay on credit cards, it's extortion. Let's not beat about the bush, okay? You're talking 15, 18, 20, 25%, 30% interest that you're paying on these credit cards. And in fact, I'm told that if you max out the balance of your credit card and you just pay the minimum amount every single month, it will take you 36 years to clear the balance on that credit card. Okay. And that's, you're not mishearing things, 36 years to repay the balance on that credit card. Okay. So what you want to be doing is looking at things like, or what should I say, what I would do in your situation, Michael, is I would be looking at doing what's called stoozing. And that is either getting another credit card with a 0% balance and transferring the balance onto that, and then committing to paying down that balance as quickly as possible. The reason why you want 0% is because you're not then paying a fortune to pay the interest on the balance that you're carrying. You're just going to be paying off the balance every single month, right? And that's where you want to be pitching yourself to do this. You can do this, and what a lot of people don't know is you can call your existing credit card companies and negotiate the rate on your card. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to go out and get another card with 0%. you can call your existing lender and credit card company and say, I'd like 0%, please. Okay, and they'll say, well, you've already had 0%. They say, well, I'd like it again. All right. Oh, I'm not sure we can do that, sir. Well, I'm sure you can because you're doing it for new customers only. Ah, that's for new customers only, sir. So you're discriminating against me then? Uh, 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 well, you are, aren't you? You're discriminating against me because I'm an established customer of yours, and you're giving people that have no track record with you a better deal than what you're giving to me. Okay, isn't that discrimination? And what you'll tend to find is that um, they tend to get very concerned about these sorts of conversations, and you may find that they will actually reduce the interest or um, give you a 0% rate for a certain period. But obviously, if you're going to do something like this, Michael, you don't want to be spending more money on your credit cards. Okay, the best thing you can do: cut your credit cards up, pay down that balance. Okay, and not put yourself in a position where you're highly leveraged and you're very close to your limits that you've got on each of those cards. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It's something that I'm quite passionate about because it's one of the things that I think is going to have a massive impact on the market in 2023. Is it's not necessarily the people's mortgages and all the rest of it. It actually will be the personal debt that carries people over the edge. I think in this next economy. So that's how I would approach it if I was in your shoes. If there's anything else I can do to help you out on that, Michael, let me know. Have a look online for stoozing. It's quite an interesting subject. We used to do it a lot when we were in the property investor world. It's great if you're very good at managing your finances. If you're one of these people that likes to spend, then I don't encourage this at all. I encourage you to cut your credit cards up and work out a plan to get rid of that consumer debt as much as possible. If you're going to be sensible and use it for the right sort of reasons, then it can be a really useful. Um, it would be a really useful source of funds for different projects, but you have to manage it so carefully. And as I say, many people get themselves into difficulty when they don't manage it effectively. Okay, so best of luck with that. Best of luck with that, Michael. Hope it all works out for you. Anything else we can do to help, let me know. Otherwise, have a fabulous Christmas and look forward to hearing from you again in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, that draws our webinar to a close today. Thank you so much again for all of your questions and for joining in and for your incredible support over the course of the last, well, I suppose 90 days or so that we've been running these webinars. It's really wonderful to be able to sort of share some help and support and advice to various different people and help you along with your property journey, because I know how daunting and complicated it can seem when you're getting first started getting into property. And I remember one of the most humbling experiences for me was I think it was 2006 when I'd spent a number of years in the property industry as an estate agent and also trained to become a surveyor. And I went to my very first property investment education seminar, right? And I was like, yeah, it's dead easy to make money in property, right? This is all you need to do: buy it, do it up, and sell it. And I got introduced to this entirely different world of not only just personal development education, but also different strategies, techniques, and tools that you can use to build a property portfolio that nobody had ever showed me before. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that was, as I say, one of the start of my journey to realizing how much I don't know as an individual. And yeah, it's been really interesting to change my life since 2006 to become more widely read and more studying of realizing that I don't know uh, virtually anything as far as this world is concerned. There is so much to learn, so much to understand, so much to get our heads around. Um, but that, as I say, has led me on this journey of learning a huge amount of stuff, which I'm now able to share with as many people as possible through these webinars and through these questions that we send out every week to people. And so I greatly appreciate every single one of you for being part of our WiggyWam community, for submitting your questions each week, for taking the time to watch our webinars, and also to share these questions and these webinars with your friends and family. It really does help us to reach more and more people. There's some incredibly exciting things coming in 2023 as far as WiggyWam is concerned. So I hope you'll join us on that journey. Please do submit your questions. We are going to continue running these webinars throughout. We're going to do one between Christmas and New Year, and then we're going to launch into 2023 with a lot more on the webinar content side of things. So any questions, concerns, comments that you have, please send them through to us. Happy to help at wiggywam.co.uk. That's happy to help at wiggywam.co.uk. You can also submit information to us via our website, which is wiggywam.co.uk. That's wiggywam.co.uk. Or you can find us on Twitter, which is at WiggyWam_UK, at WiggyWam_UK. And again, submit any questions, comments, feedback to that. Feel free to consider sharing this with your friends and family so that we can expand our reach and reach more people. And if there's anything that we can do to help you with your property journey, please do let me know. Final mention to our £50,000 Christmas giveaway. If you want to take part in that, just shoot me an email. Happy to help at wiggywam.co.uk with the subject line Christmas giveaway. That's happy to help at wiggywam.co.uk with the subject line Christmas giveaway. And I would look forward to welcoming you into our 12-week roadmap journey in the new year, which will help you get at least 20% additional revenue in your business or build you up to be a superstar player if you're an individual working for a company and you want to take part in that as well. So we're doing our bit to try and help you guys and girls. Wishing you all the very best for Christmas, whatever it is you decide to do. Hope you have an amazing time. Hope it is the Christmas that you want, and it's a nice time to reflect and take some time for you and just reflect on the year that's gone and the one that's coming, and may it bring you all that you wish for yourself and others. All right. Looking forward to it, guys and girls. Thank you so much indeed. Have a lovely Christmas and New Year, and I will see you very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.